Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So today I would like to try and debunk this garbage talking point that I hear by people who are using the language that is used against Nazi propagandists in order to slander people who want to be able to fix what they own. And this comes from Twitter, which is a place I usually don't spend much time, but this offended me so much this morning that I just couldn't help myself. This comes from the CEO of the Far West Equipment Dealers Association, who, in spite of all of the bullshit that comes out of this guy's mouth, one thing that I appreciate is that directly in his profile, he is 100% honest about whose side he is on, which is more than I can say for some other organizations. It says there, protecting and promoting the interests of our dealers. And that is exactly what he does every time he opens his mouth. The American Farm Bureau Federation, the country's largest farmer advocate organization, doesn't support these bills. The hashtag Big Lie seizes on frustrations that have long been an issue in farming that are exacerbated by a labor shortage instead of developing a real workforce. Let's talk about that labor shortage. Let's talk about that big lie. You really have to go there. You have to invoke the language that is used to denigrate Nazi propagandists, to talk about farmers who want to be able to fix their own property. That is what a piece of shit you are. Okay, cool, let's go over it. Let's go over the big lie. Let's figure out who's actually lying here. You're right. The American Farm Bureau Federation does not support this bill. But do you know who does? Colorado Department of Agriculture, Rocky Mountain Farmers Union, corn growers, wheat growers, wool producers, fruit and vegetable producers, the cattlemen, and the National Federation of Independent Businesses. Because these groups, unlike the American Farm Bureau Federation and the farm bureaus in each state, have not forgotten who their constituents are. Listen, you don't have to believe me. Let's just read from the emails yourself. Farmers have been for many years talking about how they want right to repair. And the people who work for the Farm Bureau will say, most farmers don't have or care to have the knowledge or the equipment to repair their own stuff. Most farmers don't have or care to have the knowledge of the equipment to repair their own equipment. That came straight from the Farm Bureau. Does that sound like a group of people that represents farmers? The Farm Bureau, whose vice presidents leave to go work for the Equipment Dealers Association, who is lobbying directly against the farmers who voted 176-1 in favor of right to repair legislation that the EDA opposes. So you have a group of people that supposedly represent farmers. Those people voted 176-1 in favor of right to repair. The vice president of that organization then leaves that organization to work for the organization that is lobbying directly against right to repair, and he even does it with a smile on his face in that email. The Farm Bureau, who somehow endorses every politician that votes against right to repair in spite of its constituents voting in favor of right to repair legislation. Do you know what the real big lie is? The real big lie, if we're going to use that type of language, is that the Farm Bureau ever stood for the interests of farmers. You see, what I can appreciate about you, CEO of Far West Equipment Dealers Association, is at the very least, in your Twitter profile, you are 100% honest and you say that you represent the interests of dealers. And I really do wish that the Farm Bureau could just come out and be honest about the fact that that's who they represent as well. The thing is, these farmers need organizations that actually do represent their interests, because you're right, they don't support right to repair legislation. But it's not because the constituents of the actual Farm Bureau don't support it. It's because that entire organization, in my opinion, is corrupt to its core. And one of the things that I would like to do with my money, with my influence, with my channel, is make sure as many people as possible understand all of these transgressions that have occurred between the constituents of the Farm Bureau and the administration of the Farm Bureau, so that people like you stop winning. And it seems to be working. And if we want to talk about that labor shortage, let's just talk a little bit about a message that I got from somebody who I'm humbled and honored to be able to call my friend, a farmer named Kevin Kenny. What the bill really does is open up Deere's library, which they call DTAC, Dealer Technical Assistance Center. This has all the update files, payload files, and notes from other technicians on repairs of all types. The awakening here will be young guys jumping off the ship like rats and starting their own local repair businesses, something just like you did years ago for computer electronics. Good job, brother. Love you. Love you right back, Kevin Kenny. Here's the thing. You're right. You may be right when it comes to a labor shortage, because people are going to have the opportunity to go out on their own. They're going to have the opportunity to compete with you. You're not going to get business anymore simply because people are forced to deal with you, to have you plug in your shitty little computer into the device that they own, that they paid $250,000 for to get it to work again after they fixed it. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. You're going to have to actually offer good service. You are going to have to be competitive. You are going to have to be better than the independents. And you are going to have to actually find other ways to make money other than rent seeking. And that makes you mad. And that's fine that that makes you mad. I like that that makes you mad. I feed on the fact that that makes you mad. Because if that makes you mad, that means it makes a farmer happy. And making farmers happy is something I'm happy to do. I'm going to continue making you mad. I'm going to wake up as many people as possible to all of the corruption happening in these local farm bureaus with recorded phone calls, with emails, with screenshots, with testimony from legislatures demonstrating just how often you guys have tried to screw over the little guy. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to enjoy it. I have a lot of money left over to do a lot of lobbying in many other states. And trust me, I assure you, in the long run, we will win. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video.